So, I better get on with the questions. Questions from cyberspace. Oh, not so much cyberspace as down under space, this one. This is from Sydney, Australia. And it's Katherine, that's right, if you don't mind me having bash at it, Katherine, who on her Twitter feed, or whatever they call it, calls herself, or so the people call her, smellersaurus, which is very self-effacing, don't you think? And I'm sure it's not true. Anyway, what does she have to say? I can't keep the accent up, it's quite a long question. Hi Bill, I live in Sydney and I love the Eurasian blackbirds that live in my garden. For the last 2 years, by the way, that word Eurasian just means European. She's absolutely right scientifically. It's not just the blackbird. Eurasian blackbird is a particular type, i.e. our blackbird, but these birds have become habituated to living in Australia because somebody took them down there on a boat many years ago and was a bit sort of lonely for home, and they smuggled in British birds. Whew. Bit of history there anyway. So they not native to Sydney, but as she says, she's got them there. They've nested under her veranda just above her front door. That's nice. I do wonder if because I encourage them I'm harming the Australian native birds that have to compete with the blackbirds. What are your thoughts? Difficult one for me to answer that because I don't exactly know what the Australian birds are that would be competing for them. But what I do like is the fact that Katherine has got hold of the principle that if you bring something into a different country where it doesn't actually belong, it can indeed become a problem for the birds that do belong there. I don't know, I mean, just to give you a quick example, people are very worried that because we've got these parakeets moving in much bigger numbers over this past few years, that they are pushing out some of the birds that would nest in the British holes in British trees, and they don't belong here, which strikes me as sort of avian racism, but there you go. But, and in fact there's no evidence that they are causing damage. But she may be right. I don't know. Are they competing? Blackbirds nest. I'm going to do a bit of detective work on it. Did blackbirds build a cup-shaped nest with just grass and stuff like that, and normally it's in a hedge, deep in a hedge, or maybe a fork of a tree or something like that. There's plenty of that habitat, so you can't imagine there being so many blackbirds that they take up all the nice bushes and hedges and forks of trees. So I suspect they're not doing any harm. And I do know, having been to Australia a couple of times, there's some well belligerent birds down there, and I can't see them getting pushed out by a pommy blackbird. So make them welcome, please. Okay.